Okay, good morning, everybody. So we're going to do like a little review of all the different ways we can see data. So we've gone over a few. We've gone over histogram, we've gone over dot plot, and we've gone over the box plot. So I'm going to go through each one. We're going to create them. I'll talk about what type of setting would be most appropriate for using each of those methods of seeing the data. So first we're going to go into the histogram. So what I created a question. And the survey was like, let's say we did a survey for the students in Northwell School of Health Sciences. And this is how long does it take for students to travel to school? And so we collected data on 20 different students. And so here is all the data. It's written out. We have it right here. And so our first step in making a histogram is we've got to create a frequency table. So I have a little table set up. Before we do that, though, we need to think of like an appropriate interval, all right? So, we could go we have options. We could go, like first we have to look at, well, the smallest number we have is 10, and the largest number we have is 40 over here, all right? So we know all of our data is going to be between 10 and 40. Now we can come up with intervals like from going by tens. So we could go from 10 to 20, 20 to 30, and 30 to 40, and then 40 to 50. But there's an issue if we do that, because if you look here, we have a lot of data between that 20 to 30 interval, almost all of it. So maybe, we can adjust that. We can make smaller intervals. That way we can see more of the data. We can more easily see the distribution. So what I'm going to do is create intervals going by fives. So let's do that. I'm going to make my first interval is going to be from 10 to 15. Then I'm going to go from 15 to 20. And I'm going to go from 20 to 25, 25 to 30, cancel, 30 to 35, 35 to 40, and then the last one, 40 to 45. And then all we have to do is when we see a number that's between 10 and 15, we scratch it out and we make a little mark. So let's just go through the data. I see 10, so I'm going to scratch it out. I'm going to put a little mark. I think it'll also help if I kind of separate these a bit so you guys can see more clearly. And it is important like that you scratch, like if you've used a number, you should scratch it out just to keep your, track of where you are. You don't double count a number. So 10 and 15, we said 10, that's one. Next one, 12. Well, that fits between 10 and 15, so that's another one. Now 15. I see the number 15 here, but we know we're not going to count it in this interval. 15 is going to go in the next interval. So from 10 to 15, there are only two numbers. So I'm just going to put a number 2 here off to the side and circle it. 15 to 20. Scratch that out. Put a mark. 18. That's between 15 and 20. We scratch it out and put another mark. Now 20, it's the same thing. This number 20 right here, it's going to go into the next interval. All right? So we're not going to count that one here. This is also 2. 20 to 25, we'll do this one next. Scratch it out, put a mark. Scratch it out, put a mark. And we're just going to keep doing this until we've gone through all of them. 25 to 30, we got 26. Scratch it out. Now look, 26 shows up 2 times. we don't count 26 as just once. We have to count it as each individual data. So 26, one time we scratch it out, we see it a second time, we scratch it out and we put another mark. 27, put a mark. 28, put a mark. Another 28, and we have 5. Another 28, so there's 3 28s. Put a mark. 29, put a mark. So there are 6 between 25 and 30. 30 to 35, we're going to do this interval. Scratch it out, put a mark. Scratch it out, put a mark. Scratch it out, put a mark. Scratch it out, and put a mark. We have 2 more intervals, 35 to 40. So I see a 37, so that's going to go there. And lastly, we have that number 40. So 40 is going to go in the last interval. So now we have our frequency table complete. And now all we have to do is make our histogram. So first thing, we're going to take our intervals right here, and that's going to go on the x-axis. So we're going to do, we'll make this starting at 10. Then we're going to go to 15. Then we're going to go to 20. Then we're going to go to 25, 30, 35, 40, and I got to extend that a little bit to give myself some more space. 45. And now we have to come up with our y-axis, which is going to measure our frequency. So this is going to be our x-axis. These datas are going to go on our y-axis. So you're going to look at the numbers. So the smallest frequency is 1. The largest frequency is 6. So I'm just going to go up to, let's say, 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we always have to label our graphs whenever we make them. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So now we're going to go through each interval. So there was no data from 0 to 5, no data from 5 to 10, but from 10 to 15, there is data. The data was 2. There was 2 people that took between 10 and 15 minutes to travel to school. So all we're going to do is we're going to draw our little box, and it's going to go up to 2. Next was 15 to 20, also 2. 20 to 25 was 3. Now we're going to go up to 3. 25 to 30 was 6. 30 to 35 was 4. And then the last 2 were both 1. And there would be our histogram complete. And so you can kind of see that majority of the students take between 25 to 30 minutes to commute to school. I should have touched on this in the beginning, but generally a histogram is used when you have, you can see here I've highlighted it right here, a lot of data, and want to see the overall shape or distribution of that data. So you can kind of see that majority of the data is kind of clustered around the middle, and it's reflected in that 25 to 30 minute range. The next we're going to cover is dot plots. So we're taking the same data and we're just going to analyze it in a different way. So when you have we're going to use a dot plot when you have a smaller set of data and want to see the exact values and how often they repeat. So a histogram, we're not seeing the exact values. We're just seeing the data as it falls within a certain range. For a dot plot, we're going to put a dot over the exact corresponding number. I have a number line written out. So when you make your number line, make sure that the number line you created is like reflective of the data that you have. All right. So meaning if our smallest number is 10 in this case, and our biggest number is 40, then our number line has to go from 10 to 40, or at least it should extend a little bit further, but we want to make sure that it's going to be within that number line. And just like before, I'm going to use a data and I'm going to scratch it out just so I can know that I've used it. So first number is 10. I'm going to put a little dot over 10. Next number is 12. So this is 11, that's 12. I'm going to put another dot. 15, one dot. 18, one dot. 20 is one dot. 22, another dot. 24 is a dot. 26 is a dot. I see another 26, so this is what's a little bit different. We're going to put that over the other 26. 27, we're going to put a dot. 28, we're going to put 3 dots. Okay? So I forgot to scratch these out, so I should scratch them out just like I said so I know I've used them. But 28, there's going to be 3 dots. So 1, 2, and 3. 29, there's 1 dot. 30, there are 2 dots. 32, there is 1 dot. 34, there is 1 dot. 37, there's 1 dot, and then lastly, there's 40. And that's how we would use a dot plot. Last but not least, we are going to go over the box plot. So a box plot is something we would use when we want to compare distributions or show spread and outliers, meaning we want to see kind of compare the minimum versus the maximum. In this case, the minimum is 10 and the maximum is 40. That gives us a range of there's 30 there. We would use that if we want to look for the median, the number in the middle. We want to see what the minimum is. We want to see what the maximum is. Or we would just want to divide it up into quartiles, so we can see what percent of data falls below 25% or 50%, etc. Before we make our box plot, we're going to have to come up with our 5-number summary. So that is right here. 5-number summary is 5 numbers. Now, some of these we can see really quickly. We can see that the minimum, the smallest number in the data, is 10. We can also see the maximum, the largest number in the data, is 40. From there, your next step should be to find quartile 2. Okay, you want to find the median first because then you can separate it into a lower half and an upper half. So first we're going to find the median, or the number in the middle. Now, for me, the best way to do this, and you might have your own way, which is fine, is we're just going to scratch them out until we get to the number in the middle. So 10, 40, 12, 37. And we're just going to keep going until we get to the middle. Okay, so when we get to the middle, we're left with 2 numbers, 27 and 28. Sometimes you might have 1 number in the middle. If you have one number in the middle, it's easy. That's your median. If you have two numbers, you'll have to, add those two numbers up, and then you would divide by 2. If we add 27 plus 28 and we divide by 2, it's going to be 27.5. So our median is just 27.5. We now have our median, so we can separate the data into a lower half and an upper half. I should also make note, if you have one median, like one number in the middle, you do not use that number when you separate it into a lower half and an upper half. Okay, you leave the median by itself. We're going to do the same steps to find the median of the lower half, or quartile 1, where we're just going to scratch out numbers as we see them. I have 10, 27, 12, 26, 15, 26, 18, 24. And again, we're left with two numbers in the middle, 20 and 22. We could add them, divide by 2, but I think we know that the number between 20 and 22 is 21. So that is our quartile 1. The last step here in finding our 5-number summary is the quartile 3, so the median of the upper half. Same steps, just scratch them out as you see them. So boom, boom, 28, 37, 28, 34, 29, 34, or 32. And then we're left with 30 and 30. That's easy. We know the numbers between 30 and 30 is just going to be 30. Okay, so we have our 5-number summary. Now we just have to make our box plot. You're just going to go to each of these 5 numbers. You're just going to put a line, a vertical line over that corresponding number. So I see a 10. I'm going to put a number over that. I'm going to put a line over that. A maximum of 40. I'm going to put a line over that. 27.5. I'm going to estimate where I think that might be. I'm going to put a line over that. 21, put a line over that. And 30, put a line over that. These 3 vertical lines in the middle, you make into your box. And then the maximum and the minimum, those are going to be like your whiskers. And that's it. You're done.